All right, well, welcome everybody. This is Edward Sanchez of Brass Ring Web Design, welcoming you to our monthly WordPress Web Help Meetup. This month, I'm very happy to feature my friend CJ Gilbert of Jungle Studios, who is going to tell us how to make your website work for you. A message that I often parrot. He's somebody that has become kind of a mentor and a role model for me. I see him as being out ahead on the same continuum I'm on, which is helping people realize that you need more than just a website. You need to use it well to make sure that you are serving your clients and growing your business. And he will articulate those ideas much better. So welcome everybody. And of course, welcome CJ. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. We usually call for problems, but I think we've mostly got Chiefs, no Indians this week. So why don't we go to the introductions? I'll ask you to unmute. If you wouldn't mind showing your face, I'd appreciate it. Right now it's only CJ and myself that are willing to show the world what we look like, but it always makes it a much more convivial gathering when we can see who's here, especially since we've got some of our more valued members in the room. So I will start with Mike Noter, who's first as I look at my grid. You want to go ahead and tell us who
Sure,
you are, where you are, what you do, why
sure.
you're here,
I'm gonna
all
go in
that.
and out on the camera. I've got some stuff going on here, and I don't want to bug you guys with it. But for the most part, I'll probably be camera will be
Sure,
on. I'm Mike from
totally understand.
Spokane. I run some meetups Wednesdays and a monthly WordPress. And basically, what I do is I follow experts like you and everybody else in this group around, so I can learn more about WordPress. So thanks for hosting, and looking forward to CJ's presentation.
Great, great. And that brings us to Mr. Daryl Oberg up in Canada. Daryl?
Uh, Hi, I'm Daryl Oberg. I'm based in Kelowna, BC, up in Canada. And what I do is I help people take their digital advertising strategy and make it work. My primary expertise is the paid advertising space, but I have been expanding and generally help with the whole strategy. So I work with experts like Edward and others here.
Great. Always good to have you here, my friend. And that brings us to Senor Eagle.
E, my camera's not on, so not able to show you.
It's
But
okay. I'm always happy to enjoy your Rembrandt painting.
that's exactly what I look like. So I'm Eagle. I'm in Santa Cruz, California, and I run a small web business. Do a lot of maintenance, a lot of hosting, and I actually do have a problem. I have a page that's won't load on one of my sites that's used to work but doesn't anymore, and I'm trying to troubleshoot that because it
Sorry
has
about
a PD. It has a PDF in the page and the block editor with the PDF embed. Nginx is blocking the page. I can directly access the PDF through the URL media URL through the media URL, which works. But somehow the page, I don't know. Anyway, I also run the wphelpdesk.support website, and I'll put that in the chat in a minute. We just installed a Fluent community onto the website, so there's a support community on the website if you want to join. People are posting things that are interesting and chat items and stuff. So anyway, I'll put that link in the
Yeah, and
yeah.
if you can also put a little a brief snippet of the issue, that way it'll be in the chat. If anybody else shows up, I'll go ahead and repaste it since we still have that issue where if you come in
Yep.
to a Zoom meeting, you don't get to see the chat that has preceded you. I'd kind of like, maybe that'd be a topic for discussion. Although I don't think of Zoom typically of being the most responsive technical team, there's still there's still some other issues that we've been clamoring at them about. But
Well, they did. You can turn on uh, the chat, and it will reside there forever. There is a switch for that in your sites, but then it's available forever. It doesn't go away. People can log in and get to it.
oh, like team, you're referring to team chat?
Something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, there is the team chat on the business accounts, which does seem to address some of that. And
Is that so? That's only for team members.
I think that's for on business accounts. And if
Yeah,
you're
because
subscribed to, if you're part of the team that has been designated by the admin on that
well,
particular
that's no good
Zoom.
because team members cost a full price. Whatever it is, we pay 100 and I don't know, 150, 60, $70 a year. Each team member is the same price.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I wish I could speak more intelligently to that, but I know that they have been making some advances on the team side. But in the meantime, I mean, on just the more casual uh, accounts or meeting formats, because I mean, it's a fairly convoluted platform at this point in time. If you show up, you cannot see you have to be the guy who says, well, can you paste that back in the chat for me? Can you repeat? What did I
I've seen,
miss?
yeah, all the time.
Yep, 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 yep. All right. Well, um, and Brendan, that brings us to you.
Yeah, hey everyone, Brendan O'Connell here. I work at a WordPress agency and, just love hanging out and helping people with WordPress. So I'm here to learn from all you fine folks and to share what else I know. Lately, I have been getting into a lot of automation stuff and AI as it relates to WordPress. So, yeah, just happy 2025, everyone.
We need to maybe form an AI column, and you can head it up. You can be our AI correspondent. Um, for the rest, I don't know if Eagle was here, or I know CJ wouldn't have been here, but Brendan was our correspondent in residence recently to WordCamp in Portland, and he came back and gave us an interesting download on his experiences there. It was also his first experience at WordCamp, so it was an interesting primer, I guess, for WordCamp participation. It was the first time we had also discussed the WP engine debacle, whatever you want to call it, and it was very interesting. He's a valued member of our group. Thanks for being here, Brendan. Hey, Edward from Brass Ring Web Design, popping in for a sec to tell you how we can help your DIY website project by making your website effective, not just pretty. At Brass Ring, we take a big picture approach to digital marketing, building a strong foundation that drives long-term growth. We use our hub and spoke traffic model. Yes, of course, we design high-performing WordPress websites that serve as your central marketing hub. We also coordinate traffic to it from key platforms like email marketing, SEO, social media, and ads. We align every aspect of your digital presence for lasting success. More than just ad managers, we're your partner, optimizing the entire customer journey to better use your time and marketing investment and deliver lasting value. Training and coaching you along the way means you continue to save DIY money and retain control. And now, back to our meeting. And with that, that's it for me. I think at this point in time, without any further ado, if you would allow me to please introduce our guest for tonight. He is Mr. C.J. Gilbert. He may or may not tell us what C.J. stands for, but he is of Jungle Studios. He's been a website developer for over 25 years. He is now very active as a speaker and author, teaching business owners how to use their websites as their number one business tool so they can make more money and serve their clients better, faster, and easier. CJ empowers entrepreneurs, speakers, coaches, and authors to spread their unique message and gifts and therefore collectively help millions. Most of the developers that I come across in my meanderings are often very good at the nuts and bolts of web design, but could use some help in the actual business of being a website developer and everything that entails. And of course, there's other people here in this group who could benefit from that. But even if we get somebody who steps into this meeting and just happens to be one of our newbie WordPress users who has a business, whether it's a dog washing business or a CPA, what CJ brings are universal ideas that can benefit all. So without further ado, I turn it over to Mr. CJ Gilbert. CJ, you have the ability to share the screen. I will go ahead and stop sharing my screen.
Great.
And take it away, CJ.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Edward, and thanks for having me as part of your group here tonight. Hello, everyone. I'm CJ, just like Edward and many of you. It sounds like I'm in San Diego, California. Married with 3 kids. You may hear some of them in the background tonight as I'm a work-from-home dad, which I think a lot of us are in that kind of situation. My goal for tonight is to bring something of value to you, whether you are here because you are a business owner, you are making or using or editing your WordPress website for your own business, or you help other people with their businesses, or you provide it as a service or a business yourself. You're helping others with their business by taking care of their websites. I'm hoping tonight I can give you something that either you can use it for yourself, or it's a resource that you can hand over to your clients, give them something to work on, give them something to learn while you're taking care of a lot of the technical stuff on the background. So that's my goal here tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and share my slides with you now. The name of my presentation is 5 Keys to Unlock the Profit Hidden in Your Website. I'll give you a little bit of my story here in just a few minutes, but the thing that I like to give people right off the bat is kind of an idea of what the website can do for them. And I ask, would you like a magic machine that attracts new customers to you? I think that's what a lot of people think of as their website. And so I take it a step further by asking, how about if it also sold them on doing business with you? And I think that a lot of people don't understand all that's possible with their website. And I tell them that's not their fault. I know that they probably got into business a lot like I did. They know their own thing. They know how to bake cupcakes or fix cars, and so they open a business to fix cars or bake cupcakes, and all of a sudden they realize sooner or later what they're doing is so much bigger than just performing that task or having that interest, because they have to think about websites and marketing and all this other stuff, and they may not have gone to school for business or have any kind of education in that part of it at all. I didn't when I opened my own business. And so I understand what that's like for someone who's now having to face all these other things and marketing and websites. And a lot of people, I think, have this idea that their website is a pretty, I want to convey, I guess, that their website has hidden treasure within it. A lot of people's website, they just want to make a pretty website, but it's empty. So my metaphor is for you is that I want you to have a website, a treasure box teeming with treasure, overflowing with treasure. And what I really mean by that is I teach people how to think of their website like their number one tool for their business. And if they think of it as their number one tool to grow and support their business, they'll begin to realize that it can help them with each aspect of their business. It can help them attract more customers. It can help them make more sales. It can help them enhance their customer service, which then increases their efficiency, which then helps them save time and save money, and ultimately serve their clients better, faster, and easier. If you hear nothing else that I say tonight, I want you to remember this one thing. Your website is the only thing you can fully own and control online. I'm going to repeat it. It's so important. Your website is the only thing you can fully own and control online. And isn't it true that there's a lot of other companies out there telling you to come to their website and build up their brand and their tools? And there could be value there. In fact, there probably is value there because you probably have customers there that you want to meet while you're at their platform. But I just want to remind you at the end of the day, you can't own their platform. You can only own your own website and what you're creating and producing in that way. So I want to take just a moment to congratulate you. Thank you for being here. If you're watching me, if you're listening to me, you're probably I know you're one of the few people that's actively working to improve your life and improve your situation, improve your business, improve your family's life. And so I say congratulations. And I just want to take this step to acknowledge you. Good for you.
– I'll pop in as you're having your drink as a, by the way, that we do put up a replay. And so there, we will have replay listeners and visitors who will be the recipient of what you just said.
Awesome. Awesome. Fantastic. Which is good news because that means that they have the ability to pause and rewind. And that's going to be very helpful as I get going. I'm going to start flying through some stuff. And at any point, always feel free to pause and rewind and replay and rewatch a lot of the material that we go through tonight.
And as always, I think we've found, and of course, if you want to do it differently, CJ, we've generally found that it might be better to put questions in the chat and address them at the end, or maybe pause along the way, whatever you feel comfortable with. I know you're a very experienced presenter, so I'll acquiesce to whatever way you want to do it. But
I love what you said. Please do put any questions you have in the chat, and I will either in that moment decide now is the time to answer it, or I'll just go ahead and push that off to the end, and we'll take a look at it toward the end.
There you go.
But if you'll put that in the chat, then I'll know. Thank you. That's an excellent question. Fantastic. Well, who am I? My name is CJ Gilbert. I'm going to give you a little bit of a history of who I am so that you know who's talking to you tonight and what right do I have to tell you about anything. The name of my company is Jungle Studios, and I believe that my business is to serve your business. I've always told my customers by working together, I aim to help you do more business and do better business. Pretty soon into opening my own company, or not too far after, I ended up writing my own book called 5 Golden Keys to Sharpen Your Website, as I recognized a lot of business owners knew they needed a website, but they didn't have any idea what to do with it or what it was all about. And that's really, this is the book I wrote as a result, and tonight's message is really a result of doing that, and it's all from this book. So if you're interested, of course, it's on Amazon. You're welcome to grab it, and I've got other resources for you as we go along. So it will not surprise you at all to learn I have been a computer geek all my life, And I was raised playing with computers in the 80s and BASIC and, you know, all these things that I learned right away, DOS and, you know, early Windows machines and all this kind of thing. I grew up on playing with this stuff. I was the kid next door that everyone came to, you know, set their VCR or whatever, right? Or help them with whatever it was. And so it was a pretty easy transition for me. The internet was born when I was in high school. And so in 1995, I started building with and playing with websites, just as many other people did, many of you. And so here I am in high school, and I was good friends with some people in the drama department, probably not a shock to many of you. But a friend of ours owned a computer company, or her dad owned a computer company, and my two best friends and I ended up working for him, and we were the web team of this local La Mesa computer company. And so that's kind of where it all started for me as far as web design goes. I did a couple other things in my college and career days. I was pre-med for a long time. Working toward that until one day my girlfriend at the time, wife now, asked the magic question, "Do you really want to be a doctor?" And I was like, "No, it's horrible. I have no desire to do that whatsoever." And she's like, "Well, what do you really want to do?" And I didn't really know. So I tried a couple other things. I ended up in the insurance field for a while and studied sales and learned all about sales and, you know, making your numbers. And I worked for Geico Direct. I worked for AAA. I got tired of sales and moved sideways into an insurance inspection role where other people were selling the policies, and I could just go out and take pictures and prove it was still there as a structure and they could insure it. And then one day I was doing an inspection in a home in La Mesa, and I had already looked at the inside. I was headed out the back. I was headed down these stairs in the back of their house, and I fell right through that staircase. And that's how I fell out of the insurance industry. But it was through the process that then ensued with the workers' comp, and there was physical therapy, and there was chiropractic, and they were like, "Well, you can't hike all over San Diego looking at houses anymore. What else do you know how to do?" And I mentioned computers and websites, and one thing led to another, and they paid for me to get a certificate, you know, probably so I didn't sue them anymore or whatever it might be. And then I decided to open my own company called Gilbert Studios in 2006. And so I have been doing this full time as my own company, working for local business owners, helping them with their websites. And I have to update my bio now because I've been saying over 25 years for the last 5 years. But with the new year, I now have to say for 30 years, I have been working with websites. So that's where we are today, and I call myself a web jungle safari guide. I picked up this jungle theme at some point as people kind of conveyed the idea they felt lost in the jungle, and I thought I could help lead them through this jungle that is the internet. And here's a super quick snapshot of my family. I'm married, 3 kids. We're very into music. My kids play guitar and piano. My older 2, they're a little younger here, but they're at Grossmont College now in the music department. I'm also a musician. I play the piano and the guitar and the drums. And I've had an opportunity to work with a lot of cool people through my San Diego business career. I've met a lot of people in different industries. I worked with a public speaking coach named RV Robinson, and a sales trainer by the name of Eric Lofholm. And some of you may recognize Michael Gerber from the E-Myth. And so I've just met a lot of cool people just helping other people with their businesses in San Diego. And so tonight I'm here to bring you some of that education, bring you some of that experience. And it was a pretty cool experience when I recognized that a lot of the stuff I'd learned in previous roles and previous jobs, if you will, had an impact that I could then teach people those principles. I realized how sales impacts your website and how that could be a tool to work together. So I'm just going to encourage you to grab a sheet of paper, be on the lookout for a golden nugget. I'm going to go through a lot of material, as I said, but I'm sure there'll be something that can help you. Let me grab another drink of water. Okay. Here we go. Your website is the only thing you can fully own and control online. It's kind of the foundation, your own website. And that's what we're working on tonight. And I love to tell people that the benefit of a WordPress website is we don't have to pay a licensing fee on that software. We can just grab a copy of WordPress, we can install it onto our own web host, and boom, we have a website that we can fully own and control. Yes, there's licensing fees for plugins and such that you might add, and of course you have to take care of that. But at the end of the day, you get to own your own website, and that's what makes WordPress a superior platform, in my opinion, over something like Wix, Squarespace, Weebly. Those are great platforms, but you're locked into using those platforms when you're on those platforms. Whereas WordPress, you can pick up your website and move it around from host to host, although, with varying degrees of success, as some of you may know. But that's the benefit of using a WordPress website, is you can fully own and control it. Tonight, I'm going to bring you the 5 golden keys that I present in my book. And I think they help us, they lead us through the conversation together. So the very first key, number 1, is our goals and demographic targeting. I love this quote by Lewis Carroll. If you don't know where you're going, you'll probably end up somewhere else. And that could not be more true when it comes to the web, to the internet, and to your website. And so I begin by presenting to you the 2 most important questions for your website and really all of your business. Number 1, what are the primary goals of your website? Is it sales? Is it new customers? Is it to provide customer service or resources or forms or support or education or entertainment? I would ask people this question, and I got a lot of blank looks. They never realized they could have goals for their website. It never occurred to them that that was a thing until I asked them, what do you want your website to do for you or for your customer? So you may have some goals right now that you could write. Take a look at my list here and select any that apply. And you may not have any idea. You may be like, I've never thought of that as an idea. I don't even know what my goals could be. That's okay, because for the rest of my program, I'm going to be sharing with you some ideas of how you can use your website for your business. You can use any of those as your goals. So again, feel free to replay, come back here when you even know what you want your goals to be. Basically, you could write out a few sentences or more about what you'd like to get out of your website, and then write a few more sentences about what you'd like your customers to get out of your website. You may find those are the same things. You may find those are different things, and they should both be taken a look at. Here is the second most important question for your website and your marketing. Who is your target audience? And you can drill this down to every way that you can possibly be specific. Some or none or all of these things could apply to who your target audience is. It might be based off of their gender, their age, their geographic area. Are they married? Are they not married? Are they were married, but they're transitioning to not being married for one reason? The level of their education or not? Their finances or not? Are they a homeowner or not? What are their needs, their wants, their skills, their capability? Are they computer savvy or not? Could your website attract different audiences? That's okay, as long as you know who they are. Feel free to think about a couple different target audiences that you may have. It is not possible to spend too much time on this step. I like to encourage people to think of it like a bullseye. I've got a picture of a bullseye there for you, a target, if you will. And you're throwing a dart at this target. If you know where you're aiming for, that is the bullseye, you have a greater chance of hitting it versus if I blindfold you and spin you in a circle and tell you to throw it. Who knows where the dart's going to go? But if you have a bullseye, if you have a target audience, you can throw your dart toward the target. And even if you miss by a couple rings, you've still hit the target. That's the beautiful thing about having a target market. Some people say, I don't want to be so specific. I don't want to pare it down to just one thing because it applies to so many people. That's fine. But if you have a target, you have a greater chance of hitting someone, even if you choose to accept these people in this ring and these people in this ring too. I work with all these people over here too, right? So think of it like a target and create your bullseye. Be so specific that you can begin to see this person in your mind's eye. Even give them, him or her, a name that you can use when you think about that person in the future. I encourage you to spend some dedicated, distraction-free time thinking about this, write it down, and create 2 to 3 ideal customer profiles. The power of this is once you've identified this person, you can then speak to that person in all of your marketing, on your website, in your emails, on your landing pages, on your Facebook ads, on your Facebook posts, on your social media. Did I say email list? This is the person to whom you are speaking forever. And if you can picture them in your mind, you have a greater chance of speaking to them, and it guides how you speak to them. So once you've identified that, who they are, then ask yourself, does anything need to change in your goals or in your business? Did these exercises spark any new ideas to reach a particular niche, or does it illuminate areas that are not working? Again, analyzing your target market can only help you improve your website, your business, and your results. We're going to talk about your website being a tool for your business. And I'm going to tell you next what I call the 3 pillars of a successful website. These are the 3 areas that I believe your website can enhance in your business. This is your search, your sales, and your service. We're going to talk about each one of those. So key number 2 is your search. And the way that we're searching on the internet, as you know, has changed dramatically. And I'll also step back even further than the internet. The way we used to search for businesses was with the yellow pages. And to a lot of younger audiences these days, I have to tell them what a yellow pages is. It is a book that you used to look through to find businesses, and then you pick up the phone and call them. And of course, you know that we don't do that anymore. The yellow pages are dead. I don't know if you noticed as that yellow pages got thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, and they don't even bring it anymore. They give you a postcard that says it's online, or they'll bring one if you ask for it. Why is that? Because now we Google it. We Google it. We can ask not just our desktop, but many other devices for anything that we want to learn about, anything that we want to find. And I used to spend a lot of time talking about keywords, but I don't have to spend a lot of time doing that now because the internet has changed. Search engines have changed. And I tell people, you don't really have to spend a lot of time worrying about keywords. I would rather that you spend time crafting your content in a relative way, in a way that is meaningful to your user. But I still have to tell them what keywords are. This is that phrase that you're putting into the search engine when you're looking for something. But even that's changed because it might be for research, it might be for a service or product you need. And we have now passed the threshold where people are using their computer more. They're now using their mobile phone more. And that's brought about even other aspects of the search. Now you can pick up your phone and ask whatever you need near me. And that's the search for that is even different now. It's AI powered. It's more powerful than it's ever been. It's not just looking at the keywords and counting the number of keywords on your page. So the best thing that I tell people to do when they want to talk about keywords and they're trying to figure out what their keywords are, I encourage people to write out their services. Talk about their services in a natural way. If you list out your services specifically and describe them, that's going to automatically give you the right keywords that you're writing about in your natural tone of voice and language. I have to tell people to avoid keyword stuffing. When people were trying to trick the search engines by just sticking that keyword in every place they can, the algorithm updated. It got smarter. Now it doesn't care about the keyword count. It cares about the keyword density within the amount of text you have, the number of times you're mentioning your keyword. It could look artificial, and now that's a negative hit on your search engine results. So I give people a couple places they can go to start this process. Go to google.com, I tell people to search by their own business name, but also by their business type. Just using myself as an example, I could search for Jungle Studios website design, or I could just search for website design or website design in San Diego, or I explain people there's even broader searches, right? Because I could search website San Diego, the whole city, or website La Mesa, website design La Mesa, which is my local community. So there's varieties, there's ways that you want to test this and see what happens. For example, I am probably not going to show up at all if you search for website design San Diego. There's a lot of competition, but if you search website design La Mesa, you're sure to find me. So, you know, that's just kind of the way the search is working now. And the next thing that I don't even have time to talk about is directory listings, which are now impacting the search because every one of your properly placed directory listings now links back to your website, which gives your website a boost. I have a search tool that people can use here to scan their listings and just see how that's looking on their in the landscape. Here's a little bit on what I was talking about before about searching for your business name. I explained to people they can use the suggested search feature. And as you're typing in keywords, don't hit enter, just see what else pops up in Google's suggested search. This by itself can give you some new ideas or a little bit of feedback on what keywords might work for you. All right, I've got a lot of stuff I need to move to, but again, a lot of material in my book and in other resources that I'm going to share with you on my resource page where I have a lot of other videos for you to check out and information. So they're here, right? We've taken care of your search. We've gotten people to your website. Now what? Well, now I'm going to talk about key number 3, which is your sales. And for a lot of people, this is the thing that is that could be their number one goal for their website. This is what most people told me and what most people still think of as the whole purpose of their website is making sales. Well, great. Think of your website as a tool for your sales. And if you want to encourage more sales, then remember this phrase: people choose the familiar. People choose the familiar. What do people choose? The familiar, exactly. Say it with me. So as you think about your website, think that people are going to come to your website, and whether they're spending a few seconds or a few minutes or even longer on your website, they're getting to know you, they're getting to know your services. And the longer they do that, the longer they spend there, the more they're going to develop that familiar feeling for you. And I'm kind of touching my heart saying this is where they're developing that familiar feeling. And we used to think that buyers made their buying decisions based entirely off of facts and reason and logic. And now we know that is 100% not true. Buyers make their buying decisions based entirely about how they feel about something, and then they justify it with the facts. And on your website, we can do both. We can absolutely give them the facts and the figures and the information they need, but we can also remember that they're getting to know us and they're developing a familiar feeling for you while they're moving through your website. So with that in mind, your website should have a professional, modern design, should look like it belongs in this age and this year on the internet. It should have a clear brand identity that identifies immediately who you are and how you stand out from the other people that are around you. It should definitely be mobile responsive. As I mentioned, we crossed that threshold just within the last few years. We're now on the side where there's more mobile users using the internet than there are desktop users. At any given time, your website has to be mobile responsive. It's also part of your search engine ranking these days. Here's some maybe not obvious things. Do you have your contact information displayed? Do you have an obvious call to action? What do you want them to do? People need to be told what is the next step. When people are on a website or anywhere on the internet, they're moving quickly, they're thinking, they got a lot of stuff coming at them. Give them the next step. Click here. Call now, sign up. Do you have an opt-in form, a demo, a free trial? That should be your call to action. That should be the thing that's big and telling them, do this first. Free trial, free sample, whatever it might be, that's your call to action. And that's where you absolutely want to get them started. I'll mention a video introduction and lots of beautiful pictures. What was the phrase I had you repeat a minute ago? That's right. People choose the familiar. Your video introduction, lots of beautiful pictures that can allow them to see you or what you sell or what you offer or your staff or your office or whatever applies, allows them to develop that familiar feeling so that they choose to do business with you. Answer your prospective clients 5 basic questions. Who are you? What do you do? Where are you? Do I trust you? And how do we get started? Here's a little teeny bit of sales training for you. What problem is your customer looking to solve? You want to illustrate their problem. Let them know that you understand it. You want to show how your product or service provides the solution. But in between, there's a step that they used to say in this adage: problem, agitate, solve. Describe the problem, you understand what they're going through, but before you solve it, agitate it a little bit. It's like you see the wound, you've identified it, and then you stick your finger in it a little bit, or you rub the salt in the wound, so to speak. Get them to feel the pain of what they're going through, because when you then provide the solution, it's that much more powerful for them. You understand what they're going through. You understand what it could cost them or what it could give them, and they're more inclined to choose to do business with you. And as I mentioned earlier, make sure you naturally include your best keywords throughout your content. You don't want to overdo it. We don't want to do any keyword stuffing, but we do want to be very specific, and that helps you use all the right words. Focus everything on your customer and not yourself. If you can go through the language of your website and remove as much as possible, as much as is natural, I and us and we, and phrase things in terms of them, you and you're allowing them to feel more included in that process. Remember, focus more on the benefits to your customer than on the widgets, on the features of your super widget service or product. And I have other sales ideas just like that I'm going to offer you in my book and as part of my resource guide that I'm going to offer you for free. But let me give you key number 4 before we're 2 out of time here, and that's your service. This is something that people...
You're okay on time.
Okay, doing good.
Don't sweat it.
Okay,
You're
great.
giving
We
us
got plenty of
good
time.
content, so don't leave anything out, okay?
Okay, fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much. So this is the key that, most people probably don't even think about. They're with me on the sales conversation. They totally get that their website can be a tool for their sales. This is the piece they may have never thought about before, and it's to be a customer service tool. And Jeff Bezos of Amazon says, the best customer service is if the customer doesn't need to call you, doesn't need to talk to you, it just works. I think we can agree, like them, love them or hate them, Amazon has been very successful with what they've done. I know that my wife is on it all the time. So they're very successful at what they've done there. And I want to remind you or tell you for the first time, your website should dramatically enhance your customer service. And I'm going to give you some tips on that. Of course, you want to include all the basic details. Your phone number, your address, that might be your physical, your mailing address, your email address, map and or directions if it applies, prices, hours of operation if it applies, fax number if it applies. I want to remind you that any details that you include are going to help your customer, but it's also going to help you because it increases your efficiency, which is going to increase your productivity, which ultimately is going to add up to increase your profit. I'm going to encourage you to create a frequently asked questions page. This is my favorite tip, and there's a lot of stuff packed into this one, and here's why. Chances are you or your receptionist or whoever answers the phone is answering the same questions over and over and over again. And if you don't know what those questions are, talk to the secretary, talk to the receptionist. He or she knows what those questions are because all day long they're picking up the phone and they're saying, yes, we're open till 5. And yes, here's the directions. And the closest cross street is this. And yes, we accept credit cards and we're open till 5. All of those pieces of information can live on your website. And if you were getting 100 calls a day for that one question, you're still going to get the calls. You're still going to get people that didn't find it on the website and they're still going to call and ask you. But now imagine a lot of those people are now going to the website, getting the information they need, and they don't have to call you for that one question. It saved them time, it saved you time, and your time adds up even more. And so put it on your frequently asked questions page. And guess what? The more that you do this, you're probably using keywords on that frequently asked questions page that you're not putting anywhere else on the website. In other words, that is content that can live naturally on your frequently asked questions page with relevant keywords and relevant content. And it's a beautiful place to put it. And one more tip on top of it. Often your prospective customer won't even know enough to know what kinds of questions they should even ask. They don't know about your industry. That's why they're here. And so I would say give them some should be asked questions. If they knew more about your industry, if they knew what you knew, what else would they be asking you? Put that on your frequently asked questions page because they're going to feel
they're going to feel grateful that you took the time to give them that information. They're going to feel more educated about the whole process and feel more familiar with it. And then guess what? They kind of feel like they owe you because you're the one that taught it to them in the first place. It's really a win-win-win-win-win situation because it checks all the boxes. They get the info, you get your time saved, they feel more familiar, and chances are they want to choose to do business with you. Got another tip. Edward says we have the time. So here's another tip for you. Do you need a page for resources or forms? Every type of business has its own needs and procedures. You may have a form you want filled out or brochures or other information you want to be able to send to people either in advance or to have at a meeting, or that you want them to access after you've had a meeting with them or as a next step. Consider that your website can be a tool not just for your sales process, but for every step of your sales process. What's the next step? Fill out this form. What's the next step? Get this information. What's the next step? Even on the other end, they're now your customer. What's the next step? New patient information, new client form. What's the next step? What's the next resource or form? What do you send people over and over again? Do you keep sending the same information to people? Maybe it could live on your website and either just be one click faster to get to them, or they'll discover it on their own as they're looking for it. And I probably don't have to tell any of you this, but I have to tell people that the best file format for them to use if they're adding a document, if they're adding something to their website, is the PDF. I have to explain that you don't want to necessarily give away a Word doc or an Excel spreadsheet because it's editable. It's editable. You don't want to give them the document they can edit if you didn't want them to be able to edit the document. Sometimes I give people a form that I want them to fill it out, and I give them the Word doc on purpose because I want them to add content, save it, and send it back to me. But if you want them to just take something and print it and not not change the document, then you don't want to give them the Word doc. You want to save it in a PDF. Remember, everything that we're doing to add to your website and add this value is going to save you efficiency. It's going to increase your productivity, and it's going to increase your profit. And I've got more ideas just like that. But I'm going to give you the final key right now, and then we'll see what other time we have, if any, for questions. And that's get help. You can't do everything yourself, no matter how much you're like me and we try. So consider, what's the next step for you? What kind of help could you need? And I encourage you to get a guide or a coach or a team or an assistant or a sidekick or a group just like this one, where you can keep coming back to and asking your next question. And I want you to remember me. I'm here to help you. I'm on a mission to remind you your website is your #1 tool, and it can help enhance each aspect of your business. And I know that you're busy, and people say, I'm so busy, but I also know that spending time working on these will pay huge dividends, because a better website makes your whole business more efficient. So I'm going to leave you with some resources here, and I'm going to put it in the chat box for you. I'm here to help. Let's make your website work harder for your business so you don't have to. I offer all this material as a free video course that people can get to by going to mywebsitesafari.com. And I've also put a resource page in the chat box for you where I have this as kind of the top giveaway item, free video workshop, but I also have many other things there, including my YouTube channel, Ask a Web Geek, and some free guides and some free content I have for you about lead magnets, about social media. I have a social media course and program and membership group, and I have free training on LinkedIn, and I have many other resources that you're very welcome to help yourself to and share with any of your own clients as a free gift from you. And I'll allow you this slide if you want to reach out to me either by phone, text, or email. You're very welcome to. And I've got to leave you with this last comment. We understand the internet is a jungle. It's really easy to get lost and to feel like you're trapped or you're alone, and you just feel like you're lost in the quicksand and it's closing in on you. And I want to encourage you, join a group just like this one. Make sure you've got some folks that will help lead you through and get you where you want to go. Thank you so much, Edward. Let me know. Back to you, or let me know if you want to cover anything else.
Well, I'm inclined to ask a question.
Please.
This is especially today, we have a web developer rich environment.
Mm-hmm.
Is there anything that you would like to add that would be in terms of what you can offer to help somebody who is a web developer, like I said earlier on,
Mm-hmm.
has the web developing skills,
Mm-hmm.
but needs the sales, the business growth skills, what the coaching. You want to take a moment and direct
Absolutely.
it to that?
Absolutely, yes. So a couple things to share with you. First of all, this is the resource page that I'll show you, and that's a QR code you can scan to go to this page directly if that's helpful. It's jungle-studios.com/meet-cj, and it is a library of resources. And again, it's all things that you can give to your own clients as a free gift from you. In fact, I would love for other web developers to take this video workshop that I've created and recognize that it is advantageous for them to put it into the hands of their clients so that their clients can better understand what that website can do for them in terms of their sales and their customer service and just a general understanding of its importance, and then come back to them for the help to make that happen. So that's my gift to you, web developer, is feel free to put this video, make it part of your process. As you sign people up to work with you, I know that you have things that you need to get started on right away. And there may be, during that time where you're working on stuff, but they're twiddling their thumbs like, where's my website? What do you need? What are you doing? Is it done yet? This is something you can send them to go do in the meantime while you're working on stuff, is this free video workshop so that they can learn about what to do with their website. And so tell them, make it part of your process. Okay, here's your next step. You're going to go to my website, safari.com. You'll send them the link. This is my friend CJ. He's going to give you a real simple course. There are 7 10-minute videos. It's something you can do once a day for a week. So you can tell them to do it that way, or tell them to schedule an hour on a Saturday and just go through it all at once. Either way, work through the material. There's worksheets included so that they appreciate more the tool that you're building for their business.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm
Absolutely.
going to pat myself on the back on picking just the right speaker for tonight. Do we have any
I have a
questions?
question. Yeah, I do have a question. It's more about a professional inquiry. And so thank you for your presentation, CJ. I'm in a lot of these meetups, as several in this group are,
Mm-hmm.
and they're always asking for people to make presentations. Would you like me to refer you?
I would love it.
'Cause I
Absolutely. I would
can,
love it.
I think you're hitting on a lot of important stuff.
Awesome.
I actually know a lot about it, but it's a good presentation. So I will push your name around when people are calling for ideas, if
Fantastic.
with your permission.
Absolutely. Yes. I would love that.
Yeah, it could lead to business for you, and I think you would like it, but I didn't want to do it without you know bringing it
I'm
to your attention.
absolutely. I'm very in favor of that. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, and hey, and thank you for your presentation tonight.
My pleasure.
I think we just saw a very valuable referral connection just be made.
Absolutely. I agree.
Cool. Do we have any other questions from folks? Well, don't go too far. And CJ, are you able to hang out with us?
I sure
We're
am.
going to have some WordPress news. We're going to
Great.
also see if we can't address Eagle. Now he's an advanced user, so we'll see if we can help him. But let's move to turning it back to Mike. Mike had I attend one of Mike's other groups, which is the Woo Wednesday. He's very active in the world of Woo.
Yeah, you were asking for recent Woo news. I can run through what I did
Well,
last
not
Wednesday.
necessarily. Well, just basically the news you gave us, because
Yeah,
Woo obviously overlaps with WordPress, and it was
yeah, Woo
a
and Word,
useful
I do
news.
both.
So
I do
Mike
have to
noted.
point out that a question from Eagle's a scary thing. because he's a advanced. He's getting into stuff that.
No,
But I'll tell you, if you want me to run through the news from last Wednesday, I'm happy to do that.
yeah. I clenched up as soon as Eagle brought up a topic.
Yeah, just if you don't know Eagle, he's a great resource, and I really strongly you follow his community, follow his toolbox. He has 2 meetups a month. Usually has a very comprehensive news portion, and then he has an extended help desk. And I tell you, man, he's just a good guy. Too bad he lives in California.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Okay.
No,
Okay. So let's see what we've got
you're
here.
not gonna have Californians dispute you on that
Well,
one.
I know how you feel. Uh,
Yeah. So
and I'm sorry
anyway,
you
without
guys are
further
going
ado,
through this
I'll turn it
crappy.
over to Mike Noter and WordPress Woo News.
Yeah, let me go run back to I'll just run down a lot of these meetups have already passed, so we won't get into that too much.
And you
But
can share your
I'm
screen.
really sad that the stuff that you guys are going through down there, man, that's just
Yeah.
horrible. And I hear it's hitting San Diego a little bit now.
Oh, well, SoCal, we used to have fire season. Now fire season is any day ending in a Y.
All
You
year
know,
long. Yeah.
it's all year long, and yeah, it's ridiculous. And again, yeah, feel free to share your screen.
All right. So typically, what I do is each week, and Eagle's news portion is way better than mine, but he's so far advanced than me. I'm not really a WooPress, an expert at WordPress or WooCommerce. I'm more of a facilitator, but I have the good fortune that I have a lot of people come to my meetups that are very, very knowledgeable, and
You
we
got
can.
friends.
Yeah, and as Edward, you probably know. So anyway, what I typically do is I highlight these two links right here. This is Dallas Fort Worth. This is Eric. Most of us know Eric. He's out of Dallas. He's email deliverability. He's an image guy. He's a security guy. He's very, 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 very resourceful. Follow him. Go to his events. Now, most of his meetups are paid meetups, but they're probably worth the money. Me, I haven't worked since 2007, so I'm kind of on strike. The second one is the WordPress help desk support, and this is Eagle. Now, this is the link to his a lot of other meetups, but from there you can get to his WordPress help desk, and there is a ton of information. It's one of the most comprehensive WordPress resource websites out there. So bookmark this if you're in this business with WordPress and you're doing websites. Eagle's a great resource. He's got a meetup coming up this week. So anyway, these
Hey,
were
Eagle, if you could paste that into the chat right now, that very useful
he just
resource.
did. He
I
did a
just
little
did it.
earlier.
Oh,
It's
here
in
you
the
go.
chat
Okay.
already. He can put again, or he can click through to this link. Now the reason why I do it this way, I always do a little platform, so I don't have to keep putting links in the chat. They're all
Sure.
on the blog post, and people can just click through. So if you go to that link, all of these are click throughs. Now most of these have passed. We're on your meetup today, and then tomorrow there's the Inland Empire developer. It's various, and Steve Kinsey are usually at that one. Then I go run into the Woo News. I tell you where we're at for the installations, the current version. Um, I may have erased some of this because I'm getting ready to do a new. But it's kind of we're coming out of the holidays, so there's not a whole lot of news. So in the WooCommerce, if you go to the WooCommerce website, the WooCommerce themselves, there are two blogs. There's a developer blog for stuff that's coming, and then there's a general Woo blog for generating traffic for your website and converting sales. So the developer blog is a little hard to find. If you go to the WooCommerce site, you'll find the general blog. But anyway, they have this one article recently about the definitive guide for SEO for your website, and for those that are trying to learn SEO and haven't been around a little bit, it's an informative article. For WordPress itself, we are on 6.7.1 as of a couple of days ago. I haven't checked recently. It's a fairly stable release. I haven't seen a lot of problems on that one. They do have the maintenance release that fixed a few bugs, but it's been a pretty stable release. WordPress themes need to be more weird. Now, this is kind of a touchy-feely thing. Um, this one person that works in the theme part of WordPress.org thinks since all this these themes are starting to become very generic, and they're starting to seem all the same. They have a hero image, and they have and whether this is true or not, but there's an article about that if you're interested, about what they're trying to do is to push the envelope, more creativity and themes. And I don't know, that it's kind of a fluff article in my mind, but there it is. That's in WordPress.org. Generate Blocks has a new dynamic data system. Now, Generate Blocks is a very popular plugin, and it works with almost all the themes, pretty much all the themes. And I think Eagle, and it caught me using it, and other people use. So whatever theme you use, we typically use Generate Blocks. I use the free version for formatting, and there's like 4 blocks, well, 6 blocks. They may have added something recently, but it really extends your control over your design and the functionality of your web pages and posts. Very powerful, very reliable plugin. So anyway, they've got this new dynamic data system, and this is a YouTube video from the admin bar. So if you are in WordPress and you're a developer, this admin bar is a very resourceful source. Strongly encourage you to follow the admin bar because there's a lot of useful content if you're a developer or you're a designer in the WordPress space. Okay, and stuff that's coming up here is mostly about hacks and security issues. Do not click. New Gmail, Outlook, Apple Mail warning for billions. People are getting in there. It never ends with these people. If you want to know about that, click on it. Especially if you're using Apple phones or you're using the Apple Mail. I don't use Apple. I use Apple phones, but I use Google email for the most part. But anyway, it's a pretty serious threat. It's coming from Forbes.com, not really known for their uh, like technical digital background. They're getting better. Forbes was way better 20 years ago as a magazine, but they do have some stuff in there on the digital side. A new Fish WordPress plugin harvests credit data and OTPS from legitimate sites. And this is something coming from the Russians, and they're taking over sites and they're doing it in a certain way. I'm not a security guy. I defer to other people for security matters, but this article is they're doing some things they haven't done before, and they're getting into these sites and they're taking control of the website. So it's a pretty serious threat. Probably not going to hit any of you in this area, but if you manage a lot of sites, it's probably worth your time to read this article and stay up on this threat. Accessibility to pay 1 million for deceptive claims that its AI product could make websites compliant. This is a tip I got from Eagle, who's in our group today. This is kind of a serious thing in the sense that it's sort of pushing the envelope a little bit about this accessibility stuff. Now, there's a lot of people claiming accessibility, and a lot of it is crap. The reasons for this accessibility requirements is pretty nebulous under the law, but they're enforcing it in like places like California and in New York. And so in this particular case, they've got an agreement. This company is going to pay $1 million for their deceptive claims. Now, reading the article, if you read through it, they were deceptive. They were taking fake reviews and stuff, and so they kind of deserve it here. The whole accessibility thing, I won't get into it right now.
We
But
actually just, you remember we had a rather lengthy discussion some months back when we had one of our more new members who had just actually spent a fair amount of money on XXV.
you
And
spent a lot of money on this. It's kind of a mixed bag. I don't really like them coming in and saying somebody that built a website 15 years ago and then they get sued because it's not accessible, right?
right.
Right. But I do have a problem with people making false claims, right? And they're trolling people, and so I don't really have a problem with this particular settlement. I think it's a warning. But what I really hate is hitting these little mom and pop. You got a landscaping building business and you created a website 15 years ago, and all you're trying to do is make a living, and then suddenly you get sued by lawyers because it's not accessible. That's what I have a problem with. I think we all should think about accessibility. We want people to be able to see our sites. I'm encouraged for that. But the force of law, and there was a recent ruling, I think in New York, that threw away the ADA thing on this accessibility stuff. They said it doesn't apply. It's an overreach of government in my mind. The spirit is important. If you're running websites, I'm all for it. I'm not that, but I don't want to punish people that don't. They're not web people, right? They pay
Sure.
out the nose for somebody to build a website, and then 10 years later, it's not accessible, and then lawyers are shaking them down.
Well, of course, and all it takes is for one, and forgive me for popping in, but I think this is something where a lot of us can maybe weigh in on this. Um, when we had that discussion some months back, I immediately created a search for website compliance, things like that. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on, well, are lawsuits actually happening, especially here in California, where we are always on the bleeding edge of any sort of infringement and any sort of government overstep. Um, and I haven't been seeing it yet. And I had a discussion with that member offline, about the idea that I still believe this, that if you are doing a good faith effort to say use good SEO practices in the creation and crafting of your website, the way you're tagging things, the way you're mindful of what if I am a siteless visitor who's coming here, am I making sure that their experience is not curtailed by the way I've built my website? And that's just, and that's often the difference between nuts and bolts web
We can
design.
get into a side chain, but is that really the role of government? That you're not
Well, no,
doing?
no, 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 and of course, no. You know me. When it
Yeah,
comes
I'm
to
aware of like
government
mine on this.
overstep,
I'm not against.
but I'm still in a practical terms. I'm just saying that enforcement always falls way behind. If you're a big fish, obviously you're going to be a big target. But I haven't, as yet, as I'm monitoring it, seen any cases of
Uh, we
legitimate
we've been in other meetups where the horror stories are coming out. Like one person
from
was
mom and pops
well,
or
actually,
from.
one person was he sold small planes like Cessnas, and he
Okay,
was
well
in like
that's a big ticket item. So
I know, but he got sued by someone who's blind because they couldn't buy a airplane, and the guy was in like 50,000 bucks trying to defend this case because his website because a blind person couldn't buy an airplane off his website.
Well, see, it's hard for me to be completely,
Well, I'm just
offended
saying it's
by
going
that.
on. There,
The inherent humor in that is just too much to believe. Well,
well, I don't know. I was
did the
getting it from the
case
Orange.
actually?
This was coming out of the Orange County met up. I think her name was Sarah and the guy from Pixel Jar, and they had multiple stories about this. They had multiple
Well,
clients who were dealing
anybody
with this.
anybody can sue about anything,
Well, I
but
know, I
the
get that.
question is always, does the suit get picked up, and does it actually
Well,
become
do they let the case proceed? Right?
yeah,
Does the judge
or
allow
does
it?
it get
And depending
dismissed
on
as frivolous?
your judge, right? That's night and day, right?
Of course,
Anyway,
If Stevie Wonder wanted to buy a plane, you know,
well, but the thing is it really worth? Uh,
yeah,
we can come back to this if you want to hash this
sure,
out a
sure,
little
sure.
bit. I'll just blow through the news items here.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
significant because I actually think this SSB one from the FTC is actually legitimate because they were falsely representing what they were providing.
They were
That's
overselling it.
different than forcing companies to do things that I don't think the government has the force to lie. Hey, we're from the government. We're going to tell you how to grow your tomatoes, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, we're from the government. We're going to tell you which insurance company you have to buy from. I'm against that. I don't think the government should compel you to buy any goods or service from anybody. I think that's tyranny. But when you're out there deceptively misleading people to make them to believe that you're offering a goods or service that's not what it is, I don't have a problem with that. I think the FTC is probably right in this one. I'm
Do
suspect that
you
Eagle will probably agree with it. He actually shared this.
do you
Uh,
know enough about this case to be able to say whether or not we had and I guess if $1 million was settled, I mean, but
Well,
remember, a lot of times settlements are just so we don't go to court. But I mean, was there
yeah.
actually somebody who signed up for the service who, in fact, their website did not end up being compliant and they
Well,
were not only
that's what
left.
the FTC is saying. They're saying that they're guaranteeing this compliance, and they're not really in compliance. It's an agreement. It's not final. Wasn't final as of last Wednesday, but pretty much now to end the litigation, they're
Because
probably
I ended up having a meeting with the gentleman who sat in our meeting and his sales rep, or I think it was like the head of sales. He ended up inviting me into a meeting. I actually have a free, I was going to hold it back to use it as like a sweepstakes gift or something like that, but I've got like a free year of Accessibility service. Um, and I mean, I didn't get a shifty or illegitimate thing. I really got the sense that these people were trying to,
I
offer
don't
something
know.
valuable.
I tend to send people to Amber Hines. If you know her, she's down in your area down there. She's a big accessibility.
You've given
Uh,
me her name before, yeah.
Amber Hines and Alicia St. Rose with the South Central Coast WordPress. She's a big accessibility advocate. There's a couple other ones. There's a lawyer in there too. Um, I'm not going to comment, but reading through the article, yeah, they were misrepresenting. They were overrepresenting what they were providing.
Because
That I don't have a problem
this
with.
is a settlement. Sometimes people pay a
No, the
million
settlement's
dollars.
subject to 30-day review, right? It's not. They're probably going
Yeah.
to pay it because they don't. Neither side wants to. The Justice Department, their FTC is going to get a victory. They're going to avoid a lawsuit that could cost 30 million. So
Hmm. Hmm. Well,
yeah, the underlying
we
about
should
how,
keep an eye on this one because I think it's
oh, it's kind of important. I don't know about accessibility, and I'm not saying they're bad company. I'm not, but the evidence or the article said they were overrepresenting. In fact, they were taking fake reviews and making them as their own.
now see that is
Yeah, that's a
something
problem,
that's
right?
absolutely, yeah, yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I may be misspoking a little bit, but that's essentially what they were saying. They were saying they were taking these reviews and they're fraudulent reviews and using it to justify why their service. And there's
Yeah.
other people that have had a problem with accessibility. I'm not knowledgeable enough to really comment. I'm not going to say yay or nay. I'm not saying they're a bad company. I'm not.
Well, it's an important heads up.
But yeah, be aware of it. Yeah, yeah, and again, I got this from Eagle. Eagle shared this with me, and that's why it's in the news today.
Yeah, we
So
should
let me
keep an
blow
eye
through the
on it.
rest of these real quick, and then we can
Yeah,
come back
do.
and get that. WordPress backup plugin. I think this is Backdraft Plus. Yeah, Updraft Plus. 3 million websites are hit. There's a vulnerability there, and this is a very popular backup plugin. If you're using it, be sure to update it to the most current version. It's a fairly serious security issue. Uh, 390,000 WordPress accounts stolen from hackers in the supply chain. I think this one had to do with kind of a weird one.
Threat
Trying to
actor.
trying to think what this is, but there's
Victims were infected using the same second stage payload pushed via dozens of Trojanized GitHub.
yeah. I think it was GitHub is why it made me. That's why it was important to share this article because a lot of people use GitHub.
Hmm.
Uh, so that was a week ago, and I'm not really a security guy. Eagle's pretty good on security. Eric's pretty good on security, and two or three other people are way better. Any kind of a security issue, I just send them to these guys.
Okay.
But
Well, it's on our
GitHub is a
radar.
big repository, a lot going on that site. So when something like this pops up, it's worth paying attention to.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dozens of Chrome extensions hacked. Okay, so Chrome's got this vulnerability in their extensions, and there's like 30 of them, 50, 40, 35, a lot of them. This says at least 35. And some of these extensions that people use creates vulnerabilities. Now, I think they're patching a lot of those. This is kind of old news. It's almost a week old, but you should be aware of it. So update your Chrome browser if you're using it and your Chrome extensions. And let's see, lock my PC. Okay, so I got a hack that happened on my site and they took over my PC. I couldn't get into it.
Oh,
And so
geez.
I had my IT guy come in and he fixed it right away. And I figured out how to do it myself too, about the same time he did. But it's a free tool. So you can lock your PC if you're in an office environment. You want people in there. You use this free download. You lock your PC. I'm not recommending this as a free tool because I don't know enough about it. But this hack is starting to happen a lot. And so I just want people to be aware that if you do get this Lock My PC hack and you lose administrative control, they have a workaround. And so what you do is you go to their website and you put a particular code from your site, from your lockdown into their website, and they'll give you a release code so you can get around this hack and restore control of your computer. So, you read the article, you'll get it. I'm not recommending this tool. Every week, I try to have some kind of free resource because we like free. Uh,
Mhm.
but I'm
Well,
not saying that, but just because I share it doesn't mean it's right for you. So,
no,
no,
understood.
I do
But
want
hey,
to,
it beats the the fetal position and a bottle of scotch
yeah.
as a solution. Um,
So, so my free resource,
hopefully,
my free resource for the next week. I'm not sure what screen I'm sharing. You see this optimize your WordPress site for
yes,
lightning
sir.
performance? Okay, this is a
Mhm.
WordPress.com. This is my free resource for Wednesday. And so you can go in there, and it's interesting about this particular site is when they will scan your site, they'll tell you how it's loading, but they'll also tell you what's going on and why it's not loading well. And they'll all also offer you recommendations about how to fix it. Now, the free version, you can just put a website in there, any website, put it in there, and it'll tell you. But all this other stuff about detailed performance metrics, tailored recommendations, weekly performance reports, you have to have an account with WordPress.com. I think everybody in here knows the difference between WordPress.com and WordPress.org. Um, I've got some free WordPress.com website, so I think I'm already in there. And it maybe that's why when I ran a couple tests, it worked right away. There are a lot of site speed security type diagnostic websites out there. But this one was interesting in that they not only told you what your web speed was, they got straight into, okay, this is why it's not loading fast. And this is what you can do to fix it. So, fairly comprehensive tool here. I'm throwing it in there. Let's see. Make sure I put this in the chat in case you can't see it, so you can be aware of it. And that's going to
Thank
be
you.
my. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah, please do.
It's going to be my free resource for next week because I ran a couple of them on. It worked really good. I don't think I was signed into the account. I do have some WordPress.com accounts. I'm actually thinking about moving my Advanced Digital Collective site over there because they're offering to give me a premium site for free because I support WordPress. And WordPress.org owns, well, Automatic owns WooCommerce. And I'm starting to hit limits on my SiteGround site because I think I have 8, 10 websites over there. So I'm thinking about moving my one of my sites over there just so I can save bandwidth and stuff. But anyway, there's my
Copy that.
news from last week. I haven't compiled all the news for this Wednesday's yet. I gotta, you know, a lot of this news breaks in the last day or two. So many times I'll have, okay, here we are with WooCommerce and here we are with WordPress, and hours before new releases, right?
And I've made Woo Wednesday every Wednesday at noon.
You've been
Uh,
there several times now. I
I've been
appreciate
there. It's on my calendar now as something that I try to prioritize. We've put your resources link, which has the information there for Woo Wednesday. I recommend that meetup. We have good people like Mike, obviously, since
it.
it
Yeah, well, it's
is his
not really
group, and
me. It's people like Eagle and Eric and several others that with
exactly.
advanced understanding. But it is a nice mix. We have beginners, intermediate, and we have very advanced. And we
I
have
thought
somebody.
Steve Kinsey was going to be here this evening. I was so kind of
Steve's
surprised.
been pretty good. He's been pretty regular. I know he's been in this group a couple of times. He's a regular Woo Wednesday guy.
And he's a San Diegan, so.
No, he's San Bernardino,
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Riverside.
That's right.
He's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's why
Because
he's
we
like
We've been talking about the LA fires, yeah.
Yeah, we were worried about him because but he said, no, I'm like 100 miles away. So as of a couple of days
I don't
ago,
know, 100-mile-an-hour winds
oh
and
no,
dry
I know.
conditions
I'm
when
not,
you're in the San
I'm not
Bernardinos.
minimizing the threat. It's a horrible thing. But
Right.
I did make a tweet earlier. Despite all the dysfunction, a lot of that is government enabled. But
Mhm.
a fire like that 100 years ago, it'd be thousands of deaths, tens of thousands probably. Now, the death count's going to go up, right? It was 24 this morning. It's probably going to be in
Oh,
the
it's
end,
going to be more. I mean, just from the stories.
it's going to be much higher.
Did you
But
see this? Did you see the story about Dick Van Dyke? How they evacuated him?
no,
And yeah, poor old Dick Van Dyke. He's 99 years
90
old,
some years old,
a
man.
national treasure. I follow him, amazing gentleman, and
He's
he
iconic, man.
he was alone. And you got to figure in Paradise Valley, there's a lot of people that we grew up with and consider
Yeah.
basically part of our family and national treasures that are quietly declining.
Oh yeah, no, it's horrible, man. Yeah, and that's why the death toll is going to rise. But think about that 50 years ago, a fire like that.
Yeah, yeah, no, no, certainly, of
It's
course,
going to
yeah.
be 10,000 deaths, right? We're going to probably come in there around 150, maybe 200. I hate to speculate. It's pretty macabre to be thinking about how many are going to die. It's like, oh, well,
Yeah.
we're going to
No,
bet.
it's definitely
Horrible.
we're
It's just
not
horrible.
well, there's 0% contained last I heard.
Well,
You can't
I
declare the
can't.
end of the rising death toll until they contain the fire.
Yeah, no.
It just
But my
it's
point, the larger point I'm trying to make is that despite how horrible this is, and it's horrible, it's like 127,000 homes already. It's probably going to be 200,000 before it's all over. But the death toll in comparison of what it would have been 30 years ago,
well,
right?
I think you're being remarkably charitable.
Or I know, I'm trying to find a
Yeah.
silver lining here, but it is true, right? People got out of there. They evacuated people. They
They
saved
did.
a lot of lives. It's horrible that they lose their homes, but that shit rolls through there 30 years ago, 40 years ago, and you're
Well,
stacking bodies all over the place.
I'm seeing a level of mutual aid and cooperation that I maybe haven't seen since like 9/11. I mean, we didn't see it in North Carolina, and the fact that this is affecting beloved characters in people's lives, a lot of these entertainment figures, who, by the way, as parts of Hollywood, which have been somewhat captured, maybe this will have an ancillary value of some good,
Yeah, I know where you're going
bringing
with that
people
one, man.
together.
We
Well,
can only
I'm
hope, and I'm
hoping
sure you
it's
can.
going to bring people together. I'm ready to drop the whole left side of the aisle, right side of the aisle BS that we've seen a lot of, and people will just go, you know what? We need to come
But
together
it's not left
and
or
just
right.
solve problems. Yeah.
It's right or wrong, there's truth or not. But
Yep.
what I think this is a reflection of what's going on here is the digital age. People are alerted to the threat through
Mm.
their cell phones so much quicker.
Sure. Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
and I think it probably saved 10,000 lives. Probably did. And so we're all trying to figure, well, why did this happen? And why is there no water in the fire hydrant? So why, okay, I get, we can argue all day about why that happened. And I think you and I, Ed, would agree. But
There's some weirdness. Definitely some
despite
weirdness.
the dysfunction, there is a silver lining here.
I think.
I'm pretty sure there's thousands of lives were saved because of cell phones.
Well,
Because
and also moving forward, I think that this is going to put such a spotlight on some areas that have been needing attention for a really long
that's a
time.
uniquely California, well, not uniquely because we got it in Washington too, but I think I know where you're going there. Yeah, and that
Look,
becomes very
I
it
have to,
becomes very
I have to be
unfortunately
optimistic.
unfortunately it's very political for the wrong reasons. Right?
It is,
You're trying to save
and it's
lives.
been
You're trying
that.
to make your community safe. It shouldn't matter if you're left or right. It should matter fundamental. But that's not how politics and government works, man. It just hasn't for 30 years, maybe
Well,
40.
think of the fact that I mean, LA is such a shining beacon. It is a beacon of sorts of the homeless crisis, which by and large has been poorly addressed, and people by and large are able to ignore it Well, at least when you're not in LA. If you go to LA, it's like it's right there in your face and it's horrific. But when it's homeless people that you have been watching on TV in the movies that you have an emotional connection with, I think that's going to bring, I think, a level of involvement and action. I'm hoping. I'm hoping. Again, I have to be optimistic or I'd be in tears all day, you know.
You're
But
much closer to the dysfunction than us Northwesterners, although we got it here in Washington State.
yeah,
We got insane stuff going on right here. But
I know. I
that's in
know.
the
No,
political
sorry
realm.
about that.
It's okay.
California.
I
Yeah.
don't mind. I don't mind talking about it, but it is WordPress, right? So
Well, I'm
that was my
cognizant of the
news
fact that
portion, right?
it's 7:38. We typically try to wrap it up at 7:30. Are any last minute and I don't want to hold CJ hostage and take advantage of his
CJ, thank you for your
kindness.
presentation. It was a lot of, you're right on a lot of that stuff. And
My pleasure. Thank
I'm going to
you.
push your name
Yeah,
around
thanks,
a little
CJ.
bit. You might get a few more requests.
And
Fantastic. I
and
love
I
it.
will point out that I always like to leave what I call the parking lot open. That's when we can have some more unconstrained discussions.
Kind of felt like we edged into the parking lot with some of our
We
conversation
did,
already.
but we gotta be cognizant because there are people
Not
who have
like-minded.
their yeah, exactly. Don't want to
Okay,
don't
man.
want to.
Free country, man.
Yeah, I know. Or is it? Um, but now, and I don't want to forget, Eagle. Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
So, if the rest of you will indulge me for a moment, Eagle had mentioned having an issue. You want to take a moment, and at the time I was also doing something, so I didn't
Yeah.
quite
Can you
absorb
restate
the issue.
the issue? Can you restate it
Restate
again?
the issue, and let's see if maybe when we have people like we have right now, we might be able to address it or at least point towards resources. So
Solving the
go ahead,
problem with
Eagle.
Eagle would be like a high point for me, man.
I know. It'd be like helping Elon catch a rocket ship or something. So go ahead, Eagle.
Well, I've sort of, uh, so I've got a website and I've got a annual report on the page with the block editor that's been there for
You can
ever.
share your screen, by the way, if you
Yeah,
if you want if you wanted.
it's let's see, shared images. So
And
where
and I'll
am
say and I'll say also, if it looks like it might not be something that might be of general appeal to the audience of the replay, I might go ahead and put this on hold
Yeah, no
um,
problem.
and end the recording portion of the meeting, and then we can maybe resolve it in the parking lot and those who might have to go and eat
So
or
basically, this is it. This is a page. It's a page. It's got a block editor PDF embed block on there, and every year for the last 3 or 4 years, we embed the annual report PDF, and it shows up on this page. And my client pinged me today and said, "Hey, it's not my annual report's not there." And I was like, "Oh, crap!" So I've got another site that is using the same embed, and it's working fine. So I thought, well, it's an Nginx error. So I looked at Nginx. I got the right MIME installed. In fact, I added it to a place that GridPaint. I contacted GridPaint. They suggested I put it in another file. So now I've gotten Nginx saying, "Hey, you got duplicate MIMEs," but whatever. So I created a staging site, and here's where I'm currently at. Is this it? No, that's just the media plugins. This is it. Nope, this. Oh, okay. So what I did is I went through and deactivated everything. And lo and behold, everything except the embed, it came back. So it's a plugin conflict that just happened probably in the last upgrade. And so now I've got to just go through here and figure out one by one as I turn them back on what the heck the problem is. So sort of solved, but not quite yet. But I'll get it there.
Are all those active on your current site on the live one?
Not all of them. Some of them, most of them were though, because it's got a lot of stuff. Most of
Well, you're
it,
making
a
me
lot of
feel good about
analytics.
my website.
I was just trying
I thought
to
I had a
help
lot
you.
of plugins.
A lot of analytics and a lot of like the Give WP. There's 3 here for Give W, 3 for Give WP, and then
Yeah, all the gravity add-ons
Gravity
and stuff.
Forms, and then the
Yeah.
Constant Contact, which I hate, but that's what they use. And then they have these complex waivers that they have to have signatures on, and then create a friggin' spreadsheet over on wherever it is, Google, I think. And then they've got nested form within forms on Gravity Forms. It's likely nuts. And I think that's
Can
this
I ask
one
a
here.
question, Eagle? I mean, there's a
Yeah.
lot of gravity form plugins there. If you get the premium, do you need all those plugins, or I mean, is it
Well, you have to have the premium to
Yeah,
get these
it's
plugins.
only a premium plugin.
a
Yeah,
lot of a lot of plugins, man?
Yeah.
that's how they do it. They add plugins as you need it. But
All
yeah,
right, okay.
the only ones I probably don't need anymore is this modular, because I've talked them into use a smug mug, so I probably won't activate that. But yeah,
So the
everything
PDF
else,
embedder is the one that you're using.
yes, the premium version.
And when was it recently? You said it was
But see,
recently
I turned
updated?
it off, and now it's working. So even the basic one works. So I wonder if,
Have you tried reactivating everything except for the PDF embedder?
well, no, it works. It works with the PDF embedder. Oh, look at
That's the
that.
one. That's the one right there.
It's the friggin' premium one. Well, wouldn't you
Needle in
know
a
it?
haystack there.
That just is you guys just solved my problem. Look at that shit.
Well,
Oh, I think you
Well,
sort of
that's
told
just
yourself,
batshit crazy.
you at least got
We just
the
helped
source.
Elon Musk catch a rocket, man.
That's just crazy, dude. Okay, so then if I go back to the real site, see if this will solve the problem.
That was a great picture.
Oh yeah, I mean,
You see
and
the
they've
look
also
on
got
that
this.
guy's face?
They've got this booking system for these beach wheelchairs. Because this is a thing. Yeah,
Oh, they rent them?
quite. Yeah, they rent them.
Ah.
They're
We
monster.
have them for free here in La Jolla. See, just move to
Well,
La
there
Jolla.
there
Get
there are a
free
couple
beach
that are
wheelchair.
available through the parks department, but
Oh, I see.
there's only like 2. Where the hell did that go? So if I deactivate this one, so is that going to solve it? That would be crazy.
Ta-da.
All right, that was it. The licensed version.
You still have to see if it'll allow you to upload the 2024 report, because that's
yeah,
still the old
that shouldn't
report.
that shouldn't be an issue. The issue was I was getting this 403
Right.
Nginx problem. So it's like it's
interesting.
crazy
It's on the
that
premium one.
the premium, yeah, that's bizarre. Oh well,
Okay.
very good.
Cool. Well, let me wrap up the meeting and invite all of you to stay for the parking lot. Oftentimes, that's the best part of the meeting. So I will thank everybody with a special thanks to CJ Gilbert, my friend, for coming from all the way from the jungle to enlighten us on how to be better users of our web. And it should be said that, the information that CJ imparted may have special interest for those of us who are specializing in WordPress, but everything he had to say
Good
has
stuff,
to do
CJ.
with
Thank you.
any website should be your number one tool. We just happen to love WordPress, because it is such a great tool. But thank you again, CJ, for being here. I want to thank the rest of you for being here as well. This is one of my favorite times. There's me. I'd forgotten to do our guidelines, but that's okay. I'm not the best MC for this, but please make sure that you let people know about this. I know Mike will. We're here every second Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. All are welcome, of course. You can join if you haven't joined Meetup. I know everybody here has, but we have a replay audience who is listening to this. We welcome anybody to be involved in this. This is a great opportunity to get help with your Meetup, with your WordPress website. If you have a question, a problem, or a challenge, or like we saw tonight, if you're an expert with knowledge and experience and the willingness to share it, please join us to ask your questions and discuss topics and to help others who may not have a resource for getting past these annoyances. And as we've just seen from one of our black belt WordPress developers, even black belts need help and love from time to time. So we invite you to join us. I am Edward Sanchez from Brass Ring Web Design. I will now turn off the recording and let the parking lot begin.